You're listening to Nerd Sweat.
Hello from Moss Isley, Cantina. I am your bartender, Chris. To my 360 flip is the man who makes Yoda seem like a giant. Mike, say hello.
Hi.
And to Michael's right, well, the right foot, is the charming Rancor, Andy.
Hey, hey.
And underneath that Rancor's foot is the Minoc-looking creature, Brian.
Bonjour.
And we are all back as a 4 fighting Transformer machine. This is the Power Ranger Megazord.
Switching to Megazord battle mode! Right! Megazord sequence has been initiated. Megazord activated.
So how is everybody doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Don't all shoot it at once here.
Yeah. You know, I don't want us all jump in the water at once because the water's
This
going
one,
to fall.
we're starting off real smooth here, guys.
Yeah, water once.
Yeah. If we all get in at once, it's going to be like the hot tub. The water's just going to fly out.
Can I go first?
Just float the beer, water floating out.
Max not coming over this time, is he?
Oh, he's here every time.
He's going to have 2 bags with 1 beer in each again. Even though it can hold 7 or whatever. You brought enough for everyone.
Getting wasted on 2 roadies.
Oh, he's the only man I know who could get drunk off 2 beers.
Yeah. But back to the actual show.
We're gonna do a show, eh?
Yeah. Thanks for tuning back in with us. We actually are on a 3-week schedule now, and we're technically right now on schedule, which is fantastic. We got a lot of good feedback from our last show, some constructive comments too on our YouTube, and great things like that. So we're going into our first topic, which is
Retro Game Review of the Week.
And that's right, the Retro Game Review of the Week. And we've got a game this week that's very close to all our hearts. How close to our heart is it, Andy?
It's like really, really close.
Is it behind the left or right ventricle?
It's just beside the stint.
Yeah, so the review is Pokemon Red and Blue. So we grew up with this game, and it sort of came in out of nowhere. We just saw some commercials on TV, and either our parents or grandparents bought this for us just because it looked all right, and it became massive.
Well, look at it today.
Yeah, it's huge, and it was huge in the school, at the house, on the TV, plush dolls, clothes, everything.
Trading cards.
Yeah, that actually was the biggest thing besides the game.
Yeah.
And Pokemon Red and Blue came out in Japan 1996 and North America 1998. And I still remember getting my copy of Pokemon Blue. I just want to go on a tangent before we talk about the game in detail, the actual game. But the first the first copy I had was Blue, and the first Pokemon I chose was Bulbasaur. How about you, Brian?
I had red, and the first one I took was Squirtle.
Andy?
Yeah, I went Squirtle all the way, right away, too.
Am I the only one who went red with Charizard and or Charmander? It was
No,
on the
I don't
cover.
think you could
I
grab
gotta pick
Charizard
that.
in the beginning.
Well, Charmander
Yeah.
eventually made it there.
So you and Brian chose red, and Andy and I picked blue from the get-go.
Honestly, it wasn't a choice. That's
Let's trade.
That's what was bought for me.
Now,
Yeah,
did you rename your Pokemon or keep it the same name?
Oh, no, it was the same.
You kept it the same name?
Yeah. I don't even know how I heard of the game, but I went and pre-ordered it or put it on layaway or something, I think, as a kid.
Go Walmart.
You got like an allowance every week, or at least I did. And every week it was like throw $5 at the game, and then finally when it came out, I had enough, and because it was some form of pre-order or something. Anyways, yeah, I just got it and didn't put my Game Boy down until my batteries died.
But when you did choose your Pokemon, you kept it the original name. You didn't bother renaming it.
I can't remember. I don't think so. I think I left it alone.
And
No,
Brian,
I never gave any nicknames to Pokemon.
No?
No, me neither.
No,
you kept it
never.
original. I was stupid
Yeah.
enough. I don't know why.
I nicknamed all mine.
I named my Bulbasaur Back Me Up. Yeah, come on out, back me up. I was a special kid.
I named my main guy Mike, and my Charmander was named Duke, so we're the same person.
No, that's,
I don't know why.
that was very clever.
That explains a lot.
What?
But yeah, the main thing that sort of comes out when I think about this game is back in elementary school, because that's when I first played it. At school, we had a lot of the cards. I used to sell cards. I actually remember selling either a Growlithe or an Arcanine to Andy at one point. I think for 45 cents or 50 cents. I remember calling him up on the phone, letting him listen, man, because they were banned too at this point from our school. Andy and I and Mike at one point, we all went to the same school. And anyway, so I said, we'll meet in the back, and that's how it's going down. You can have this Arcanine for a fat 45 cents.
Should be in the back.
Yeah. So and we also did the badges as well. You remember that, Andy?
Badges on the game or badges like card game?
On the Game Boy. Like, remember when we were outside, we'd be sitting in the front, and we'd always have like a bunch of people in the corner and link cabling it up, fighting each other?
I don't remember battling a lot of people. I don't think we really knew. Well, I don't know. My friends and I didn't really know how to do that a whole lot. We were just like competing who was further like in the game. But everybody would just go home and like race to see how far you could get.
Because Jay, another buddy of ours named Jay, he had some sort of badge nickname for himself, and if you beat him, you'd get, I don't know, like the sausage badge or something. And then I had, like, if you beat me, I would give you an imaginary Jedi badge.
No, that actually does ring a bell a little bit now.
But Chris had little people under him, so in order to fight Chris, you'd have to beat the little people under him.
Yeah, you had to fight Jeremy Forte. You had to take him on, man. I had to keep my peeps close. And, it was just, I remember in my lineup, too, I think I had the Venusaur, a Gyarados, Mewtwo, Zapdos. I can't remember. Because how many could you have again? Max? Was it six? Six, right? How many did I say there? No, because you couldn't. Could you get? I can't remember now. You couldn't get Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, could you?
Yeah, you could get all of them.
Yeah, you could get all of them. Because you needed to get all of them to fill up your Pokedex.
Well, if you want to fill your Pokedex, you could kill them if you wanted to.
I wouldn't dare. They're too legendary.
I remember like not being smart enough to realize that I was approaching like a quote-unquote legendary Pokemon without like saving first. So it's like you're all of a sudden fighting it and you're like, oh wait, crap. When's the last time I saved? It was like 6 hours
40,
ago.
Yeah, frig.
It was on the SSN.
But that's where we learned to do that, right? That's where you learn to save before a boss battle and all that kind of stuff, because it was really important in that game. Before that, I can't really think of a game where it would have mattered to me that much, right? Like, but in other games, if you go up against, a quote-unquote boss, which they kind of were, you lost and you died, right? You just go back. This time, if you lost, they were gone. Or if you won, they were gone. If you lost, I guess you would have to restart from your last save. But if you beat the Pokemon, it was gone. And some people wouldn't have known that was the case, right? It would be gone. They would have saved their game, and then, you're screwed.
That's it. Yeah, start all over again.
Yeah, I think that's one of the games that got me really anal about saving. Like, I'd always do quick saves. Like, whether it's a PC game or a console game, and it's always that.
That's what started it
Did
for
you
me.
guys like save it and then like go and save it again just to like make sure?
Yeah, so you walk.
I was all about that. I'd save like 3 times in a row just to make sure it works.
Yeah. Over compulsive saver.
I only would save once, and if I didn't do it, I'd be mad at myself because I'd have to start like 2 hours ago.
Now, so for like in Pokemon Blue and Red, what was that one moment when you had that Pokemon? Like obviously there's going to be a Pokemon that's special to you more than any other one. And was there any Pokemon for you guys that they did one move and it was just like, okay, things have gotten really serious now? Like, come on, Brian, you start off. Like, what's your favorite Pokemon from Red and Blue, and what move was like the ultimate move for you? You're like, this is amazing.
Okay, well, those are two different things. My favorite Pokemon has always been Charizard, hands down. But for favorite move, I just remember using it so often. I had a Gengar with Hypnosis and Dream Eater. That combo was just so, put them to sleep, they can't touch you, and then just pound the crap out of them, right? Like, that was just such a sweet combination.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that was my first almost, I look at it now, and there's so much strategy to battling, whereas, like, when we were kids, it was mostly just like, oh, I'm going to grab Charizard, Flamethrower, alright, it does the most damage, great, or, like Zapdos, Thunder, great.
Yeah.
But then that one was, you had to set it up, right? You had to put them to sleep, and then you could use Dream Eater. And now there's, so many hundreds of moves, and there's so many different combinations and element changes and all this, and, like, you can change the weather now. But back then, it wasn't quite as complicated, and that was the first little bit of complication that was kind of fun.
And Andy, what about you?
I think like Brian already mentioned it, like Thunder for me was, I think, like the cool, like most animated move there was, I think at the time. But I was all about, Dragonite for me when I first saw Dragonite. that was the best Pokemon that ever happened. And obviously I think Hyper Beam just for its raw intensity and power.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Mike?
Mine's gonna sound stupid, but I always liked, because I had red, and I always liked like Pokemon that Blue couldn't get. And I loved Electabuzz ever since I was a kid.
Go, Electabuzz! Thunderbolt now!
Yeah.
And I didn't even know he was so strong. And, like, again, he has my favorite move, which was, like, Thunder Punch. Because you just think when I was a kid, I thought about it. You punch someone and thunder comes out of it. How awesome is that?
That is actually really cool.
Like, that's an intense punch. And even then, like Andy was saying, it was pretty good, like, animation. Because there was the punch animation, and the thunder would come down right afterwards. And not only that... Like looking back,
I think I like your choice a lot too, Mike, because the electric moves always made this really weird high pitch like wheel sound. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, it was. And now looking back, like now realizing he's one of the strongest Pokemon from the Red and Blue era. It's just like he's pretty awesome.
So around that same time playing Pokemon, I watched a lot of DBZ too.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite Pokemon first of all was Venusaur. And then, obviously, his ultimate, it's just like, okay, we're going to do Solar Beam, but it's going to take 2 turns. We're going to spend 1 turn powering up, and then the second turn you're going to eat it. So, I think just the idea of, like, thinking of Goku.
Like a spirit bomb.
Like a spirit bomb, It's just like, okay, everyone get ready! I need everybody's power in the world! So, just the thought of him powering up in his little seed bubble thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty sick.
That is cool.
Yeah, that was my favorite. So, anything else you guys want to touch on with the Pokemon Blue and Red that really rocked your socks?
Well, I felt like it was just such a solid game all over, right? Like it was a long RPG. that you needed a ton of patience for. Like, kids now have no idea. Like, I play X and Y now. It takes no time to go through that game, whereas, there was so much grinding in Red and Blue. It was just actually really good for me as a kid that it was like that. I had so much fun battling with friends, like a few of my friends, we would get together with the link cable, and we had a great time with that. Pokemon Stadium, when that came out, blew our minds, so much fun. But, different game. But still, like, it was connected. It took those Pokemon in your Game Boy game and put them in 3D on your TV in full color. It was just great. It was like watching the show.
It was like full animations, too, of attacks and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was completely next level stuff. It was revolutionary, and it got us hooked. And we all have to admit, they had the best marketing system ever. Just flooded us with awesome stuff.
It was disgusting. I don't understand how my parents spent so much money on me.
I know, it was a ton of money.
So bad.
Yeah, the cards and the games and the books and everything. Like, you watch the show every day after school. It was all about Pokemon.
Every day after school. I used to tape it. Andy, remember I used to tape it on VHS?
I don't remember you taping it, but I remember watching it every day.
Yeah, I had like, I think 12 VHS tapes because I couldn't afford to buy the ones that could like do 6 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I think they could only tape like 45 minutes, so I'd buy 2. And then I'd have like 1.5 episodes, and then I'd have the second half episode on another VHS tape. Yeah,
that's funny.
Pretty pathetic. But there was Brian. You brought up about the grind, correct?
Yep.
Now, this has sparked a sort of thing with me. A lot of games now are, I find, moving away from the whole grinding type of scene.
Well, yeah, because there's no more patience out there.
Yeah,
no, it's true.
And it's just like it's like a quest. You're doing like a questing grinding, I guess you would say, more than just you're going to different areas, you're finding a bunch of mobs, and you're going to kill them over and over again, and they might have a rare drop. Like EverQuest was really known for this grinding, and then all the Final Fantasies, everything did that, and it just it stopped. I think it stopped after World of Warcraft.
Not completely. There's still it's still there a little bit. Like, you look at Diablo 3, which is basically just a game of grinding too, right? Like, they still come up with some games that are based on grinding. It's just they tone it down. Like I said, Pokemon now. Like, this newest Pokemon, I guess I'll explain it to everybody. There's an experience share that you get right at the beginning of the game, and you give it to you put it in your inventory, and it's active. And the Pokemon that sees battle gets 100% of the experience. So let's say it's 1,000 experience, right? That Pokemon gets 1,000 experience. Every other Pokemon, all 5 other Pokemon, get 50% of that experience. Not split between them, they each get 50. So each other Pokemon now gets 500 experience. Doesn't even enter battle, doesn't see anything in battle, but they get 500 experience just for, sitting in a Pokeball.
Say what?
That's how bad it's gotten they took away from the grinding to make sure that you never have to sit there and grind. Just going through all the trainer battles, all the gyms is more than enough to be way OP throughout the entire game.
Okay, I got something to say on this grinding. You guys, Chris mentioned EverQuest. Has anyone ever tried to go back? Not Pokemon, because the grinding's actually fun. But when you go back and play like EverQuest, for example, and then you go play a game like WoW, where it's more quest based. It keeps people's entertainment. Grinding is boring. Like it's not very rewarding, because like Chris says, unless you're grinding for a certain item, then it's pretty boring. People's attention spans aren't even mine. I would say is not the same as it used to be. I don't want to go sit there and grind in the same area for 5 hours in order to go beat a boss. I'd want to just go and have it. You could still be a tough fight without grinding. You could still be able to lose. You know what I mean? I don't know. Grinding, it's going out for a reason, right? Like, it's just not the way the game industry wants to go anymore.
I think, if I was to go back and replay Pokemon Blue again now, I don't think I would have as much fun with the quote-unquote grinding aspect as I did with the kid. Like, I didn't even care as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, it was like, I wanted to use as many different types of Pokemon because everything was just so brand new. Like, you had no prior knowledge of how many Pokemon existed. You couldn't go on the internet and look it up. You couldn't do anything. You just had to experience the game for what it was. And you had no idea when things were going to level up the first time that you played through it. So, it could happen it could happen now, it could happen, like, the next battle. You had no idea. So back then I didn't care. Like, my reward system, I guess, was the experience as opposed to, like, an item or so. Mm-hmm. But if I had to do it now, I don't think I would like it as much because I'm kind of expecting a reward in the form of a drop or I don't know, something along those lines.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I enjoyed the grind stuff, but like Mike said too, if we do go back and play something like that, and like you said, you'd rather not spend 5 hours getting something leveled up and then going back into the cave and trying to get through it, right?
Well, like every time that you went into, was it Mount Moon? And you had to deal with the amazing amount of Zubats.
Zubats everywhere.
Like, I've never been more frustrated because they drop, like, hardly any experience. They would just suck the life out of you, so it took, like, twice as long for you to kill them. And every second step you took, it was a battle. That was frustrating, yes, and I never want to experience that again.
The friggin' zone with the Magnemites, too, was retarded, and the Magnetons.
Oh, yeah, but that wasn't too bad because they were, like, sitting there.
Yeah, but they weren't easy. They were pretty tough, too.
Yeah, because they would always just, like, self-explode.
Yeah.
And they would kill half your Pokemon.
Yeah, it would kill your whole party.
Oh, Voltar, friggin'... Yeah.
They would fight you till they have, like, 2 health left, and like, okay, they're about to kill me, explode.
Yep. No, it was... But another thing they don't do anymore is where you run into somebody every 2 steps. Like, they've turned that down by far in the newer Pokemon games. It's no longer as big of a problem. Like, Ashley, when she was playing with RPG Maker, there's a scroller. You just turn that up or down. Like, what's the average amount of steps it's going to take to run into an enemy? And they've turned it way, way down compared to what it used to be. Because it used to be you step into the grass and you almost always just hit a Pokemon. Now that's not the case. You can walk through a whole patch of grass, and unless you walk back and forth, you're probably not going to hit one.
No, it would be
maybe just one.
A Rattata, Pidgey, or a Spearow.
Yep, the Spearow.
I hated Spearows. They're so annoying. I never liked it.
I hated them because of the TV show when they attacked Ash, like in one of the first episodes.
Right.
It was the first episode.
Yeah,
that's whenever he saw the Ho-Oh fly above him, and nobody knew what it was because it didn't exist.
That's
in the first game.
And it didn't really give you a good picture of it. It was just like a Pokemon.
Yeah, it was like a black like shadow of a large Pokemon, but that had like this like stardust trail as it flew by, and you never found out until I think the second season came out. I don't think it was ever in the season.
It took years before we finally found out what it was. It was the release of Silver and Gold, I guess, is when we finally figured it out.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Was it the show that I don't even think they ever explained it in the show. I think it was actually Gold. You sort of just put 2 and 2 together. You said
when it came out.
That looks like it. It must be.
I thought it was David Bowie.
Well, and don't forget, too, because back then you couldn't just...
Ziggy played guitar, jamming good with Weird and Gilly.
You couldn't just look it up, right? Like, I didn't have internet for the first few years of playing Pokemon.
What?
So
I couldn't internet?
I didn't have internet.
Why?
I'm old.
You didn't have that 14 4K modem or 26
None of that. So... Ouch. You couldn't just like backtrack and Google it or something, man.
I was slamming that AOL and getting on those chat lines.
You and got that disc every month. Huh?
Hello, Kitty Girl 376 ASL. Oh, those were good days. Any pics? Question mark. Friggin' pre-internet. Isn't that weird though? Like we were there when the internet went huge, like when everything started off. So it's kind of funny for us to laugh, and like anyone else who's like 16, 17, like just like what the hell?
You mean 15, 16?
Yeah, in the back of a car.
Yep. Survived for 2 years.
They'd be thinking, these guys are losers. What are you doing on chat lines? Who goes to a chat line?
Yeah. All right. I have a question. Are we gonna rate this now? Because I don't think we rated Mario Kart last week.
Well, we didn't. We were we rated it, which one we liked from.
Oh, that's right. That's
yeah,
right.
so we did technically rate it.
Okay, but we gotta start this
haven't done
again.
our
Yeah.
system in a while.
I miss it. Let's do it.
Okay, so since Andy does it the best, we'll get Andy to rate what he thought Pokemon was.
I have to say, Pokemon was my favorite game for so long. Like, it infatuated me. It consumed my life for too many years. But I don't regret it at all. So it gets a 9.5 out of 10.
That's a high pitch, bud.
Yeah, has to go.
Yeah, that's a good rating.
Mike?
Seriously, that game was the game that probably got me into gaming. I can't even remember how I got my hands on that game. Just all of a sudden I started playing it. I give it a 10. Like when I was a kid, I give it a 10.
Are you kidding me?
No. I couldn't put it down. I beat the game. I would start a new game. I'd play. I'd just keep going and going. It was awesome. That game, like when I was a kid, that was the game. Everyone if you didn't have Pokemon, you were
a loser.
You were a loser. You know, nobody wanted to play with you. It was like, come over my house. You got Pokemon? Nah, man, I'm busy tonight. So it's like, it was that game like what started me gaming. It's one of my earliest memories of games. This was Pokemon playing.
That's why there was like a 4-year span where like no bikes were sold. Nothing was sold for kids just because
all
of
the
Pokemon.
kids gained 20 pounds.
Yeah. It was a toy recession. All right. So Brian.
There's only, I guess I'm not going to give it a 10 just because there's minor things that I guess in retrospect I can say were not so great, but I have to agree. I'm going to give it the same as Andy, 9.5. Because it just, the same as the other guys, like it was everything for years, right? Like all I wanted was more Pokemon. Just sit there and play that game. So 9.5.
So for me, I can't say it was the first game that got me into gaming because that would be lying. It'd be Mega Man 2. But it was also an very important game to me. It continued a lot of my friendships as I grew older. And I'm not going to give it a 10. I'm not going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The gameplay was very addictive. Lots of creatures. I used to have a Pokemon poster, and I one time memorized all 150. And I even remember later, this is really stupid, I used to babysit these couple of kids, and this is when I had a 64 and we were playing Smash. And I used to train them how to use Pikachu and Jigglypuff properly. These two kids I babysat.
Nice.
So yeah,
I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before, but my fiance Ashley has all 151 of the first cards, and then some. Like she has all the cards up until still like the newer ones now. Like she has some X and Y cards, but she has all 151 of the original.
She should buy a 24 by 30 frame and just see if she can frame them all. That'd be so cool to hang.
It would be. But she's got like doubles, triples, quadruples of everything, like shinies. Like it's insane. Like I'm looking on the desk right now, and there's a big stack of Pokemon cards. They're everywhere.
Do you still have your full set, Chris? You had a full set when you were a kid?
Yeah, I had almost the entire jungle set, and then I had almost the original set too, and then I had the promo, was it the Machamp card that came in the plastic? Was it a Blockbuster? No, it came in the starter decks.
Yeah, Machamp was the one that came in the starter that said first edition on it.
Yeah, and then I also had an E3 version of Pikachu that came in the Nintendo Power magazine.
Yeah, I had that. I had that.
Yeah. And,
did everybody get the Mewtwo that came along with the movie?
Yep.
Yeah.
And wasn't there a coin?
Mew. It was a Mew, wasn't it? Like, with the movie?
It might have been a Mew, yeah.
No, I think there was. There's.
That might have been the second movie.
That's right. Because there was when you bought the VHS, the first one, it came, I believe, with the Mewtwo, like Andy said.
Oh no, it was when you went to see it in the theater.
Yeah, I was referring to the one you got whenever you went to the theater.
promo card. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it at the theater.
Yeah, wasn't that playing at the port too at that point?
It was still playing at. It was whenever in
Brookdale?
Cornwall. Yeah, whenever the theater was in the same mall as Walmart.
Yeah,
that's right.
Cinema.
That's where I went and saw it.
Because I went and saw Power Rangers with you and Scott and your mom.
I love Power Rangers.
I so hope somebody from like Nebraska is listening to this and they're like, "What the heck are they talking about?"
I have to get that flute from Power Rangers. Do do do. I'm not actually going to play it. It's just going to be like a button that you hit and it just resonates out. So that is this week's Retro Game Review of the Week, and we're going to go on our next topic.
Cell phone app of the week.
That's correct, cell phone app of the week. And this one is extremely geeky. I use this all the time when I deal with wireless signals in an isolated area. It's called Wi-Fi Analyzer, and it searches on the 2.4 gigahertz band. And people are saying, well, what runs on a 2.4 gigahertz band? Well, your routers and some of your cordless phones and some baby monitors and some garage door openers and the sounds that are emitted from some microwaves are actually on the same band wave. Mm-hmm. So what this doodad does is that it'll look at that and it'll look at other routers in the area and see which channel that their devices are broadcasting at. Because even though you can't see wireless frequencies, they can still collide. And you can get disconnected, and you could be right beside your router, and it'll say full bars, and then it'll say reconnecting. And I know a lot of people have suffered from that. And it's as simple as shifting the actual channel that your router is broadcasting on and to a channel that no one's on. Because out of the box, most routers, I believe they're on channel 6 or 9. Between there, right?
I think so.
Yeah, a lot of the D-Links and Linksys routers and all that stuff. So this is a free app. It works both with the Apple phones and Android. And it's, if you're into that kind of geeky stuff, and it's pretty simple. Like, it's just a giant graph. And it shows the broadcast SSID. And you just put yours to a different one. I'd recommend anyone who's geeky like me to use it.
Well, it's especially helpful in a city, like if you're in an apartment building, a whole bunch of people using different stuff.
Especially in an apartment building.
You can find like, oh, no one's on channel 4. Let's go to channel 4. Yeah. Remember we had a buddy before, so every time they put on the microwave, his internet would cut out. Yeah. he's like, boys, I can't play. Someone's eating up food.
We're making popcorn.
Yeah, we had, there was a friend who had a baby monitor, and it was picking up 900 megahertz, a voice from someone else who had a Cobra handheld walkie-talkie.
That's awesome.
And they were it was like two people having sex. It was pretty funny.
Oh, no. Why is somebody having sex with a walkie-talkie?
I don't know. It was funny.
In the baby room.
It's like,
we had that when I worked at a blueberry farm. There was a construction site, and somehow the signals were getting mixed up with our walkie-talkies, and we were listening to Ghostbusters, like the entire movie of Ghostbusters over our walkie-talkies. Cool. Yeah, it was great.
Someone just holding down that top button.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, what color's your bra? I don't know if I want to tell you that. It's like that kind of whole thing. But, yeah, free app. Get it. If you're geeky, do it. Don't think about it. So we'll go into our next topic.
In our corner.
That's right, in our corner. We like this one. We have a lot of fun with this one. Andy loves this topic.
His favorite.
Andy,
I'm in love
like,
with it.
There's love, there's there's enjoy, but you're right in there, like your knuckles in there.
I guess it's more lust, if it were anything.
It's a smell that comes with the lust.
Oh, man.
It goes like, yeah, it does go like that. Like, don't shake your head. So, it's in our corner, it's about the games we've been playing and games we've purchased in the last week or so, or a couple of weeks, depending on when you're listening to this. So we'll start with Brian. Any new games you've been playing as of late, or something you purchased?
Yeah, I purchased a lot, actually, in the past couple of weeks. I got a Wii U, so I've joined Mike with the whole Wii U thing. With that, I bought Super Mario 3D World. It came with the Zelda. Donkey Kong, that's the Zelda Wind Waker. Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, and that one I've actually already 100%ed. I don't think I've enjoyed a game so much in a very, very long time. It was really old school. Yeah, it was really old school. It was a Donkey Kong Country, just like you remember it, but they've just added stuff, and none of the stuff they added took away from the game. It still feels like the old kind of game, but just awesome. Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympic Games is awful.
Just awful. I think anyone could tell you that.
Yeah. I just needed a
always
multiplayer
are.
game, and I got it for the right price, so whatever. And then I just started playing again with my buddy Sean. We started playing Feed the Beast Minecraft. We're playing Feed the Beast Unleashed. It's a whole bunch of different mods together. It's great, and yeah, I just finished my treehouse about an hour ago.
You use me to entertain you while you do the
Feeding the beast in the
Minecraft.
treehouse.
just feeding. Yeah, no, Chris is really good. When you're just mining away, you just talk to Chris. He'll keep you going.
Yeah, you'll just start hearing me like yell at computers and stuff because
Yeah,
I'll be
it's
working.
great. Yeah,
That's fun.
Chris isn't always this jovial. Everybody.
Big freak show! You're going nowhere! I got you for 3 minutes! 3 minutes of playtime!
Yeah, I'm an entirely different beast.
He knows how to feed the beast. I'll
Feed
tell you
it.
that.
Come on. So Andrew, what about you?
I have picked up. It's utterly ridiculous, but I picked up Tomb Raider Definitive Edition for the PS4.
What?
I said what in the...
Yes, sir. I couldn't wait anymore. So I already beat this game on the PC when I bought it on a Steam sale. I think it was a ridiculously good price of like
It
$15. $15 for every Tomb Raider ever made, including this definitive edition.
I got
So
that
it was like a steal. And so I played it from the advice of Mike. Actually, he said it was really good for, I believe, the PS3. And I was like, okay, no, yeah, I'm gonna try that. So I beat it on the PC, and I couldn't stop playing. Now the only difference is basically the controller that you're holding, because it's a PS4 controller, and better graphics. Other than that, it is the exact same game. But I can't say that I'm not enjoying it, because I'm actually really enjoying it, playing it again the second time through. Other than that, I played Remember Me. It's a Capcom game. I got it on... I didn't buy it because I have PlayStation Plus membership. So I downloaded it from...
Exclusive.
Yeah, on exclusive, baby.
Oh, baby.
So I downloaded it for free. I think it was like 6 gigs or something. It's really fun. It's a really simple game. I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, and it's not very challenging. So it's kind of like mind numbing. Like, you don't really have to think. You just have to, like, I don't know, just like fight. It's by Capcom. Like, it's a fighting game.
Yep.
Other than that, not a whole lot. My buddy lent me Assassin's Creed Liberation for the Vita, because my Vita was collecting like an inch of dust, so I had to do something with it. And then I realized that I could sync up my Vita to play Tomb Raider. And this is blowing my mind. This like Vita and PS4 relationship. I'm absolutely loving that.
You gotta show me it when I come over.
Absolutely, man. It's crazy. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I don't know. I've never seen it before. Well, sort of, actually. Like, just like a little bit. But I always found, like, with the PS3, it was sort of broken.
Yep.
It never really worked all that well. And when it did, it didn't really do everything you wanted it to. But with the PS4, yeah, they've done an amazing job.
It's amazing on the PS4.
Yeah. I don't know how else to explain it.
It's so awesome whenever someone, like in my situation, if like someone wants to watch TV, you want to play games, well, you just play, alright, no problem, I'll go on my Vita.
Yeah, two on that.
Every game in PlayStation so far is compatible with your Vita.
And it's funny because you just have to have your PlayStation on,
Mm-hmm.
because you're like forcing the video and audio to your Vita now. But now it's a built-in controller, and it's your screen.
Yeah.
And the game's not actually in it. It's like, I don't know, it's just amazing. It's awesome.
Amazing.
And it doesn't like lag at all.
No.
It's I don't know, it's really cool.
The only time I've ever noticed lagging is if you have like heavy Wi-Fi usage.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess.
That makes sense.
Yeah, like if you're killing your Wi-Fi, then yeah, you'll get lagged. Besides that, it's perfect.
So what about you, Mike?
I've only pre-ordered another game, Final Fantasy for the Vita. Comes out, I don't know when, sometime this month. And then I've been playing Killzone Online. I think I have over like a day and a half hours logged into all the online play.
Wow.
and I'm still pretty awful at it. But it's people are just too good at these shooting games.
Oh yeah, you gotta jump in it as soon as it comes out.
I just want the trophies.
That's right. It's all about the trophy.
Well, yeah, I've done. I like playing it. It's fun, and it's good to because it's like you could just jump in and play like a game, and then you don't have to worry about like taking off from a story. You just play, and you have 20 minutes to play a game, and then go to work or whatever. It's like it's just casual. It doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about anything.
I've been playing Super Mario World on GBA over again. It's just a classic.
It is a good game.
It's one of those games that just makes you smile when you play. You know? Yeah. It's just such an easy, fun-going casual or hardcore. It could be either or. Still doing the hockey thing. You know? Druin's about almost 40 years old now, Jonathan Druin.
Wow, you sim so much.
Ah, man, I play every game. What are you talking about? I quit work. I'm like, work?
His team's so good he doesn't need to play. He just sims.
Yeah, that's right. I've been scouting like a machine. So yeah, Super Mario, that. Still doing the friggin' Clash of Clans there, in and out. I've been giving random people wizards or those blimp guys. I gave my brother a couple of those, and I guess he was pretty happy about it. He actually worked out really funny because he got attacked by like all these giants, and then they just start dropping bombs in their blimps, and then because it's AOE damage, that's pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been doing that, and Mike said about the Final Fantasy X coming out on the PS Video. I'm really excited for that because that was one of my favorite Final Fantasies. Besides I really enjoyed the third one too, and second one for the SNES was really good. Did I bring up last episode about Final Fantasy that was supposed to be released on the 64, but it wasn't?
Yep,
okay.
I think so.
I'm still in awe about that. I still think that's crazy about Final Fantasy 7. But anyways, so yeah, that's and I'm waiting. I guess the end of this month, there's going to be some sort of online game coming out.
Nope, never heard of it.
Yeah, so I might as well play. I don't know, like freaking.
What game's coming out?
ESO.
I thought it was in April.
Well, if you got is it just the Imperial Edition, or if it's standard, you don't get the 5 days, right? Early?
I don't know, but I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, if you got the Imperial Edition, which was like
the Imperial Platinum Gold Deluxe,
with toothpaste.
comes with the toothpaste they used in that era.
You get like 5 days early.
Okay.
So.
Get the Head Start program.
Yeah.
A lot of MMOs are doing that these days.
It's true.
Every digital pre-order gets it 5 days early, I think is the deal.
Yep.
That's
all right. So we're going to go into our next topic.
Group discussion topic.
And our main discussion this week is about arcades. So I'm going to let Brian take the reins on this and lead away.
Lead away, eh?
Just swing away.
Just swing away. Okay, so the idea for this group discussion topic that I'm sure all of us can contribute quite a bit on is the question: could arcades make a comeback now, or sometime in the near future? Arcades were huge when we were kids in the 90s, early 2000s and that, but then it quickly started to disappear. It started to disappear mostly once the N64 and the PlayStation, then the Xbox came out, PlayStation 2. Once those games came out, and they were large games that took, a lot of them took quite a while to play through. Once games like that came out, arcades weren't relevant anymore. A quick game for a couple quarters wasn't what people were looking for, because the big advantage an arcade machine, an arcade cabinet had in the 90s and the 80s was that they were way, way better than anything you could possibly get at home. Arcades in the 80s were better than NES and Sega Master System, all those, Atari, and in the 90s better than Super Nintendos. They weren't big, long, fleshed-out games like Chrono Trigger or Super Mario World. You had to, throw a couple quarters in and you'd get to play till you died. And that was a different kind of play, but they were better. The graphics were better, the processing was better, everything looked better, felt better. like a fighting game. If you ported an arcade fighting game to a home console, it just was not the same. It didn't turn out quite the way it should have. The N64 and PlayStation revolutionized games. Everything was in 3D, better than most games you could get in the arcades. When you could play, yeah, exactly. You could save your stuff. You didn't have to put your quarters in, restart from the beginning every week. And if you bought your game, it was yours, right? It's not like an arcade where you'd have to go back. You'd put around the same, if you wanted to get good at a game, you'd have to put about the same amount of money into the machine as you would if you had bought the game, and you don't get to keep it forever, and that game, you never know, could just be swapped out for another one at your arcade. So they quickly became irrelevant. And what killed it was that game developers stopped making games for them. That was just the thing. If no new games come to the arcades, then what's the point? What I'm wondering is if game developers started making games meant for arcades, meant so that if you put in your quarters, you get to play till you die. It's not story-driven, it's gameplay-driven almost entirely. Most games were, if they were in an arcade, were mostly just gameplay-driven. If game developers started making stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily need to have better graphics, but do you think we could bring the arcade back? In any form, because like my fiance and I have joked if we ever won the lottery, we'd open a bar that was meant for arcades. Like there's one in Ottawa, The Honest Lawyer. There's a few arcade games, but it's not.
Oh, The Honest Lawyer.
Let's not talk about that. No,
That's a dirty tingle.
Move on. Man. Chris, pour your beer on the table. Let's move on.
All right, we'll move on from that. But there are establishments around that have some arcades in it, and it's a bar. But we would love to see a mostly arcade-focused place that just has a bar in it, so that it would be adult-oriented, that, people our age could play old cabinets and whatever. But I want to know about a new style arcade with awesome graphics, equal to, if not maybe a bit better than Xbox Ones and PS4s, but the games are simpler and cost a quarter or two. So I'll throw it to Andy. What do you think, Andy? Do you think it could happen?
I'm torn. No
surprise there.
No surprise there. I don't want to be a pessimist, but I seriously don't think that what I'm thinking of as an arcade, I don't think that arcade will flourish again. Mm-hmm. I just don't see it reinventing itself. I don't see it flourishing. But maybe it's because I have one vision. It's a 2D side scroller. That is I don't know. I can't see it taking off. I can't see it being the next thing. I think it came, it saw, it conquered, and now it's gone.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. It's a good point. It's the perspective you're imagining what they were. What I could, I guess, counter to that is if it were something different, like it's even hard for me to imagine. Like you say, like I'm still picturing 2D side scrollers because that's what was out there. But if they were to come out with something that was not that was something different, new, and awesome, like some sort of simulation game, something that gets you really immersed, something revolutionary, do you think then it could catch on?
Okay, that's a good point. I definitely think that if something came out that was a little more revolutionary, that caught people's attention and distracted them from what is current, in the sense that everything right now seems to be very socially driven, like your farm bills and your Facebook apps. It's like help your friends out, play some Candy Crush. If you could somehow peel people out of their homes and bring them to an actual social event with some form of prize or reward, whether it be physical or virtual or whatever. But yeah, if you could somehow make it more appealing to get out and go to somewhere and enjoy themselves, I definitely think it could be, at the very least a fad. But, I don't think it's impossible. I just think that the style of arcade that I'm thinking of existed, but unfortunately, I don't think it has enough to pull people away from their consoles and out of the house to go and play that.
And I love that. I love that. I love that focus on being together, though. Like, we've talked about that before. Sitting on the couch playing games, sitting in an arcade together, standing at a machine. That's gone, and I really do miss that.
It was so much fun. Even like if you accidentally touch the other person's foot, or if they got you with their elbow and stuff, just egging you on while you're playing. That
Don't touch experience.
My feet. You guys remember how much fun we had in Hamilton at those little arcades they had set up? We all four of us were playing games. It was a blast.
Okay, I think Andy's right. Arcades is pretty much extinct. If you do open up an arcade, it's going to be successful. It's going to be successful in a place like Ottawa, Toronto, a place with a lot of people. If you are going to open up arcades, for me, if I was an arcade owner, I would love to see a 4-player arcade of Gauntlet Legends. I would love to see a 4-player arcade of Smash Bros. I'd like to see a 4-player arcade of hockey. It would be a lot of games that are 4 players, 2 to 4 players, and I'm not sure if I'd want it like having a 64 with an emulator maybe built in, and then you put a quarter in, and then you choose your game, and then maybe you're given 20 minutes of gameplay. Maybe something like that, instead of like if you die, then you got to put in like not feeding quarters over and over. I think that would be more cost efficient if you had 6 arcades that were like 64 emulator arcades, and then you'd have another 6 that are PS2. So then you could have 4 people playing Time Splitters, and then or Gauntlet Legends, or
I think the problem with that, it's like the past of arcade. Like, it's not the future. That's like those games, maybe not those specific games, but games like those were available in arcade. Like, I don't remember what it was called, but it was a side-scroll beat-em-up. You could play like a warrior, blah, blah, blah. And it was a 4-player game, and it's the old-school way. Like I don't know. It's so hard to say what would bring them back.
Well, I personally, like, if I was playing Diablo 3, I'd rather play it 4 players with a friend, either around a console or on an arcade. I wouldn't want to play it online with somebody else. Like, sure, it'd still be fun, but I wouldn't get the same experience. Because when you're beside each other, it's more of a connection. It's just, it's not the same. And that gets me into something else with cell phones and stuff, too, where it's, like, kind of taking the whole social aspect of things away. But anyways, besides that, just playing games with friends in general, and we're setting up a game night, by the way, at Andy's place. We're doing like a 64 night, and it's gonna be a pajama party. It's gonna be so awesome. But
fried chicken and beer and games.
Why you eat so much chicken?
You just don't get the same feel, and it's complete romance. And when you do it, when you play it for hours on end, the stories, the fun, it's competitive, but you're having fun. And it's not...
Once it happens, we'll be talking in it during our podcast for like a year,
I'm sure.
Remember when that was like once a month with your buddies? Like when we were kids? When we didn't have jobs and stuff, it was like all the time. Oh, I'm going over to such and such guy, we're going to go play Smash Bros all night. And you do, you're... Oh my gosh, you go back to school on Monday and you tell all your friends, oh yeah, me, Brendan, and Kyle, we were up until like 4 in.the.morning playing Smash Bros. That's the latest we've ever stayed up. We stole one of our dad's beers. Oh my god.
Yeah, I used to do that with Dad used to buy Mom because she liked drinking peach snaps once in a while. Oh. And but like my place was like that too. We'd play ball hockey. And then we just veg out and play video games. We do like a 4-player thing, and then like one person, like Andy or Mac or someone, would spend the night, and we'd play a co-op game like right through the night. We'd go to bed like 4 a.m, and like from like 11 at night to like 4 a.m, my mom would be yelling at us to like either take a break, 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, or get to bed because the sun's coming.
Don't forget to clean the controller when you put it down.
Yeah, the sweat, and the sweat gets
the Lysol wipe.
Yeah, that's right.
And she said your sweat penetrates the finish of the controller and gets into it, and it creates germs. It's
right.
He's not kidding. Whenever you're done playing a game in his house, his mom would force you to Lysol wipe the controller down.
Lysol Nazi. She would go nuts.
But I want to get back to the arcades, because I think I do see them making a comeback, Brian, but in a different way. I was in Montreal and I went to a video game bar, and they didn't have arcades, but they had console set up, so all the way from, they had I think they had PS4 at the time, all the way to an NES, and if you wanted, they could pull the Atari from the back, I guess. And they had a game shelf, and it was, you go in, you pay your $10 cover, and then you get whatever game you want for free, and they put it in for you, and you play. And you just drink beers and play, and it gives you that really arcade feel, because you're in a place with a whole bunch of other people who are playing different games, and they're all like, it's loud, everyone's having fun, and it's all groups. And it's like, it makes you feel like you're in an arcade, except you're playing a console game. It's all multiplayer games. They have single player games too, but everyone's playing with their buddies, everyone's laughing.
It's like a college setting all over
Yeah,
again.
so it's like you're with a whole bunch of buddies, you're in a bar, you're drinking, and other people are there too, so it's like a social event, except there's no arcades, it's console. And that is actually really fun, and that bar's packed. And like, I guess my buddy was saying, if you don't go before 10, you can't get in all night.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
I like that, actually. See, whenever, again, I was thinking about, like, arcades, like, put a quarter in, and it's kind of like you in the arcade. It's a very solo experience. There's sometimes this 2-player, and very rarely there's a 4-player game, but I think it's only because of those 16-bit, 8-bit games that existed before. I like the whole $10 cover charge thing from a business standpoint, with, beverages, be it alcoholic or not, chips or snacks or whatever. And I'm sure because of this nostalgia factor and because of the social aspect, and, you throw a couch with a console and a TV and stuff in front of a bunch of friends, that's what they're going to do. Instead of sitting at a table and talking and drinking beer, you're going to sit down and play a video game and laugh and drink a beer. It's like the exact same thing.
It's awesome, because like I totally agree with the $10 cover charge, not only from a company standpoint, but you can go in there and they have like old games, they have new games, they have a crap load of games. So not only are you paying to play any console you want at any time, swap it out, you're also paying to play any game you want at any time you want. And
I love that idea. I really do love that idea, because now it's not you just go to the arcade and play what they have. And, I mean, arcades are big, bulky things, and they're very expensive, and, they eat up a lot of electricity for especially, like, quarters at a time. But if you're going to play any console you want, with any game that you want, and it's, and it's right there in front of you, like, that's amazing. Just for the variety, for the library of games that you can play. I mean, we went to Montreal in the summer to that video game store, and on top is this vastly large store with a ridiculous amount of games, and then downstairs they had this essentially, it was not huge, it was like 3 couches, 3 TVs, and 3 consoles, but it was there. Like, they had, if you wanted to test a game out before you bought it, you could take a copy downstairs and play it, and then if you wanted to buy it, you come upstairs and you bought it,
which is great.
Like, I think that's so cool.
That reminds me of the old microplay. Remember that? Any game you want, I think it was microplay. They would pop it in for you. You play it for 10 minutes. They get mad at you, but then if you didn't like it, you didn't buy it. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that's how it worked there.
Yeah, no, I did.
Like,
they did that.
read
We
the
had
magazines.
microplays. We had them here in Ottawa. That was their policy. If you wanted to try it before you bought it, you could. Like, we were doing that with Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and N64 games. I did it every time. Tried it and they'd sit there and they'd play it with you. I remember there was the one in Orleans. The guy would, if it was a multiplayer game, he'd play with you. He'd kick your ass. He loved it.
Beating up little kids in video games.
That was it. He was just this big, dorky video game guy, and he worked there, and then he got fired for, sticking his fingers into the cookie jar too much.
Avonport used to have a small little, actually had 2 arcades at one point. Believe it or not.
Really?
We had one arcade my friend and his parents owned on Centennial Street. It was called Melange Arcade. It had 2 pool tables, Virtual Fighter, 2 pinballs. It had 2 other arcades.
Didn't they have a projection screen one point?
Well, I brought my TV over, my Magnavox 19-inch TV, and a 64, and we had that sucker set up. So, trying to think. Oh, yes, the other arcade was near the bank, and it had actually a lot of arcades in it. A lot. It was probably about 30 to 40 arcades in it, and they closed it down after a month because of, like what Andy said. The electricity's too expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah. And on 40 arcades, if you're only pulling in $7.50 a night, that's not going to do much.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like it'd be nice to entertain the idea of an arcade. You know, I'm not talking one machine. I'm talking like arcade in the sense of a whole store and with multiple arcades in it. But the thing is, you got to have kids like coming through that turnstile and buying candy like it's going out of style just to keep the place available. If you start introducing like consoles, televisions, beer or drinks and pop, and you know, like if you have all that, then I think it's a little more feasible. The only thing that I have on the forefront of my mind is where video games sort of took off after they stopped doing arcades. Once the 16-bit sort of like, well, it was tail end of 16-bit into 3D world, is the RPGs. And I don't think that you can entertain the idea of an RPG in a profit side of things, just due to the length of them, because you want turnover. Like, you want to have people play games for a certain amount of time. Maybe I guess you could just put a time limit on things, but I mean, like, you can't put a quarter into a machine on an RPG, and the only time you have to pay another quarter is whenever you die or something, because it'll just take too long.
Well, you know what? I think of money aspects, right? If arcades in their old school form, let's say playing new games, doesn't matter, they'll need to be more than a quarter a play. They need to be like $1 a play. Or, you know,
that's the thing, too.
You couldn't do a quarter. Like you guys saying, it's just, let's say someone comes in, plays 3 rounds, well, that's only 75 cents. You're not getting nothing. It costs more to power the machine for 3 rounds.
Yeah, it's going to scare people away, though, for $1. It's a lose.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way they can bring it back with those huge machines, because they cost so much to power, and no one's going to want to pay more than a quarter.
That's why you need to emulate it or have the system set up to a projector. Like, that's the only way you can do it.
That cover charge idea, though, with a bar, that's great, right? Like, you fill a bar full of however many people, right? Say 100 people, and there's your $1,000, right? Which is just running cost for, you know, just a few employees and whatnot, and then you're making massive profits off of bar charge beer, right? Like, you know, bar prices for beer, making tons of profit off of that. You're selling the food. It's a perfect idea.
I remember, as if I recall, I drank quite a bit, but as if I recall, the consoles were locked up with a key. So in order, if you wanted to switch the game or change consoles, they did it for you. That way they could. I'm pretty sure it's to avoid any water damage or spill damage to the consoles.
Absolutely.
Smart. Oh, you'd need to.
We should do that with Max Beer at Seb's wedding.
Oh, God.
We should have had it locked in the
wedding at the bachelor
I got kicked
party.
out for that.
Oh, you were kicked out to take care of him.
Yeah.
You were pushed out.
No, I believe I was kicked out to take care of him.
Yeah, I got kicked out because Max spilled the beer, and Andy got kicked out to take care of us.
Andy came back, though, for Seb's sister.
Me and
Mac
ended up going to some very dirty places.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris and I proudly made it all the way through Seb's wedding.
Yeah.
Well, I should have not been kicked out. I still say to this day that I got kicked out because Max spilled a beer.
No, you were more like asked to take care of him.
Andy was asked to take care of us, because I remember Andy's like, they told me I had to take care of you guys.
Yeah, but Andy was hung up on his sister, on Seb's sister. He wanted to talk to her.
Someone pushed him onto them. I remember they're like, oh yeah, go dance with her, and he's like, oh okay. I remember that, because Andy was like, they said this girl wants to dance with me.
Seb is going to be so happy listening to
this. I
this.
remember, but okay.
Well, Andy's a nice pair of legs.
Well, no, I don't blame him.
Yeah,
I've tried to sleep with them many times.
Who's that coming from somewhere up in the sky?
He fills out those pants.
It looks good.
We're getting worried for this slumber party.
All right, so we're going to go on to our next topic now, which is
PC tips.
And this week's PC tip is a program that both Mike and I use a lot, and maybe you guys. I've used it with Brian. It's TeamViewer, and I used it to remote into Brian's computer once to fix it up. Remember that, Brian?
Yeah, no, I think you've used it 2 or 3 times, actually.
Yes, and what it does is that it's a free program. You can go to teamviewer.com, or you can just Google TeamViewer if you can't spell that. And it's a free download. It's about 6 megs. And you install it, and after you install it, as long as you have an internet connection, it gives you an ID number and a password. And you either message your friend through Facebook, or text them, or call them on the phone. They install TeamViewer as well. You jot down their numbers and you input it on your TeamViewer application, and you can remote into their computer and control it.
Oh.
I did it to some people, and I opened a notepad and wrote, "I'm going to find you and take all your money and throw your stuff into a ditch," and just to scare people because it's funny.
Biodigital jazz, man.
But besides that, I use it mainly for just fixing people's computers and viruses and all that jazz. And I got customers who have network problems while logging into their routers and seeing what's causing congestion and all that kind of stuff too.
You actually used it for the podcast one time. I think it was the first or second episode of the podcast. We tried recording one night, and my internet wasn't working, and you were trying to go through a whole bunch of stuff on the computer that was far beyond me, and trying to speed up my connection.
Just trying to help a brother out, you know?
Yeah.
If you guys, I have a great alternative too. If people don't want to download anything, it's called join.me. I don't know if you guys ever use this one.
Oh, the browser-based one.
It's the exact same thing, except you don't need to download anything. You click create new session. It gives you session ID, just like Chris is saying. You tell Buddy, okay, go to join.me, put in the session ID, he puts it in, and then it'll say so and so join your session, and then the one player input gives full control. The one guy has full control of the guy's computer right from the browser. I've used that one many times. It's like I said, some people aren't comfortable with downloading a program they never heard of, so just go to this website.
The only problem I've had with that program is that some infections were browser-based.
That's true.
And it would just crash over and over and would just bog down. So I've used what Mike said too, and it is actually really good. It's one or the other. With the TeamViewer, it's its own application, so they both have advantages. One you don't download, one you have to download. If you're on ExploreNet, you probably don't want to use the TeamViewer to download. But if you're not on ExploreNet and you're using tethering you to your phone or anything that's not ExploreNet, then you might want to just download TeamViewer. So anyways...
they're good. They're both good programs.
Yeah, that is our PC tip of the week, and that is our show. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We sure had a lot of fun. I am excited now to play Pokemon again. I just want to do some Pokemon battling or anything Pokemon. Pull my Pokemon cards, throw them in the air, and bathe in Pokemon cards while I'm hugging my Pikachu.
Wow.
Oh,
Not
man.
a bad idea.
Yeah.
Party at Chris's house.
Yeah. Feed the monster. All right, so we're gonna sign off. Bye from Brian.
Bye there, everybody.
Andrew.
Signing off.
Michael.
Au revoir.
And that'll be our show.